It is Friday, August 7th, here in eastern Nebraska. Colin Adler Ruane and Angie Lauritsen here this morning. It's the first Friday of the month, and that means the federal jobs report comes out. And not really great news from what we saw. There was actually a loss of jobs nationally in the month of July, and that's causing some new concerns for a lot of people. The interest rates are still high for a lot of people. There are a lot of concerns about inflation still being too high as well. Just seems like a lot of malaise out there. That's all happening, Angie, on top of what's happening here in Nebraska right now, where we've had almost 20% reduction in SNAP in the last year. We just had a new phase of Medicaid cuts begin last weekend. We're the first state in the country to be implementing those. And those changes are happening with this backdrop as well. And we've also had some of our critics essentially say this is all good news, but we're not really seeing it that way.
No, and it's really hard to quantify all of that and say that like people losing their food assistance is great news. People losing their health care is great news. No, it's not. The responsibility, like people still go hungry. People are still need to go to the doctor. People still get sick. And so the responsibility then falls on to the rest of us. So none of this is good news, unfortunately. And so the numbers that came out today really shows how increasingly, and especially how it affects Nebraska. We already have a pretty tight jobs market here in the state of Nebraska. And seeing these job numbers come out just kind of add to the anxiety of what we are all facing when it comes to looking down the road for expenses. Like there was a report out yesterday that we can expect from USDA talking about how food prices are just going to continue to increase as the year goes on. We're getting information that health insurance companies are going to be raising premiums yet again, anywhere north of 15% when we go to elect new health plans for 2027. So we have that to look forward to too. So a lot of people are like looking at their pocketbooks. They're wondering there's a lot of uncertainty when we talk about the economy right now. And then you throw in this jobs report today that is certainly sending up some flares that we should all be paying attention to about the certainty of having a job. If we want to move to a different type of job, is that job going to be there? Is it available? And we're also facing layoffs here in the state. Kellogg's is finalizing the end of their layoffs and closing up their factory here in Omaha. There's still a large amount of people that are unemployed in from the Tyson food plants closing down, and so we know that there's a lot of news out there, and it's hard to quantify and put everything together in a way that people can really understand or feel optimistic about what's coming, because I know I certainly like when we continue to look at these reports that come out on a routine basis and nothing is really shedding any hope for our economy moving forward. We're facing increased higher gas prices, and we're also not seeing interest rates come down. So that equates over to interest rates for your home payment, your credit cards, your car loans. Like all of this equates to this economy that is not getting better. Even though we were promised, right, Colin? We were
Mhm.
promised that prices were going to come down, and that's
Mhm.
just not the case. And so we will continue to keep an eye on what's happening with the Medicaid cuts, like you said, that were cut this past weekend. And as people start to lose their health care in the coming months, we will certainly keep talking about this. Um, but Colin, can you help kind of sum this all up for us? I know that I don't want to be doomsday, but also
Mhm.
it's really hard to be optimistic when we get jobs numbers like we did today.
I think it really underscores that people are having a tough time. We know this, we hear it every day. And when there might be some figures out there, some people in positions of leadership trying to frame this as a positive, I think it kind of goes against what people are feeling in their everyday lives, and it isn't seeing people where they are. So there are a lot of challenges with expenses. There are a lot of challenges in the economy. People are looking for relief. they've wanted lower prices for quite some time and have said as much and have been promised that, as you alluded to a bit earlier, and they haven't gotten it. They've gotten the opposite. And a lot of people are really concerned about kind of what that means moving forward. These economic numbers are already really difficult to see, and we're going to continue watching those. We are expecting an inflation report to come out pretty soon. The forecasting tools from the Cleveland Fed show inflation at about 3.4% as what they're looking at. We'll have a better idea once the final report does come out. And then later this month, we'll get updated figures from Nebraska's Department of Health and Human Services on where SNAP and Medicaid enrollment are standing. Haven't really seen a shift in Medicaid yet, but we do expect that to change with these new cuts coming in. And as I mentioned at the top, SNAP is down about 17% was what we last saw from July of 25 through June of this year. And we expect that number to fall further, but we don't have those figures yet. So we're going to continue providing updates here on all of our channels and make sure that we are keeping everyone up to date on what's going on, because as you're able to see here with State Director Angie Lauritsen and me, Colin Adler-Ruane, there's a lot going on. There's a lot of information to sift through, and we will do our level best to make sure that we're providing as much clarity as we can to help you get a better understanding of where things stand economically, not only here in Nebraska, but nationwide. Have a great weekend.